Juan Soto, big contract talks going on. He was offered 15 years for a massive $440 million, would have been the most expensive contract in MLB history, and he turned it down. And now there are trade talks stirring around, trade rumors stirring around. So we're going to cover it. My name is Derek. I'm here with Barnes. We're going to cover this Juan Soto situation. Obviously, we all know how good he's been, but just how good has he been? We're going to cover the contract talks, what potential trade destinations are there, can anyone trade for Juan Soto, and if anyone can, who can trade for him. So let's get straight in. So we're going to cover Juan Soto, all that right here on Bleacher Brawls, so let's get straight into it. Obviously, Soto, I mean, he's a great player. I don't think anyone can not deny that, right? 91 games this season and just under 400 plate appearances. He's hitting 250, which is low for him, but he's still got a 405 on base and a 497 slugging. He's got a 162 OPS plus. Solid year, 20 homers, just won the home run derby. And he's also 79 walks, leads the MLB, just 54 strikeouts. Very good player. Go straight to Barnes here. That's a big contract to turn down. 15 years, $440 million. Thoughts on it?
Man, if I was a 23-year-old and I turned down that money, one of my best friends would smack me right in the face. Like, what the hell are you doing, man? So there's something going on here. Turning it down, there's a little bit more to maybe just the money. Maybe he just wants to go to a different club. Maybe he's willing to take a little bit of a pay cut just because he'll want to be on a winning team. But that is a lot of money to turn down. So I feel like there's something else there, maybe not just the money aspect.
Yeah, I definitely could be. And the Nationals haven't really been a good team since 2019 when they won the World Series. He probably maybe wants to win. Also, too, I did look at the contract, like just per year wise, it's still under $30 million a year. And then, but also Boris brought it to the Nationals. $43 million a year. That's what Scherzer's getting. We should be up there, top players paid in baseball. So the Nationals went and offered him the same contract Scherzer got, 3 years, $43 million a year, and obviously they're gonna reject that. But both sides are playing hardball, right? The Nats are playing hardball. They know Soto's gonna get the most expensive contract in MLB history, but they're also not trying to break the bank too much. Obviously, it's clearly going to be the most expensive contract over the course of a contract, but they're also trying to lower the average cost by having it be a 15-year deal. So it's very interesting. Obviously, Soto's a great player, one of the best, if not the best young player in baseball. He's one of the best left-handed hitters in baseball. I think he's the best lefty in baseball. So it's very interesting to kind of see where he fits into a whole, because guys are going to be getting paid in MLB, and contracts, they're only going up. Guys only get paid more and more. Where does he fall in? I think a 15-year deal, if they're going to go 15 years, it's probably going to be around $500 million. $500 million would be $20 million in the first year, which would be next season, which is his second to last arbitration year. Then his last arbitration year is $25 million. Then it's $35 million straight through for the last 13 years. That's what I'm thinking, but it's also rough to judge because no one's ever gotten this type of contract. The closest thing is Mike Trout, and that's 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely weird to see, where this could go, especially in terms of length, money, especially because he is so young. He's 23 years old, so he definitely has the time factor on his side, and betting on himself like this is, definitely something that he should be doing. I totally get it. It's just I feel like we've never crossed this road before, especially with a player so young.
Yeah, it's very weird for it to happen with someone who's so young and so young, but it's been so good for his whole entire career. It's not like he's just kind of bursting off into the scene last year. No, he's been good since day one, since he stepped into the big leagues. And there's a reason the Nationals let Bryce Harper walk. Why? Because they knew they had Juan Soto, who was just going to basically take over and do even better than what Bryce Harper was doing, which sounds crazy, but I think if Juan Soto didn't struggle as much in the first half last year, he would have won the MVP. I still think he should have won it last year. And obviously Harper did win it. Harper has gotten better since going to Philly. But yeah, it's very interesting. Now trade talks. There's obviously a bunch of trade talks, and Scott Boras is his agent. So obviously, bunch of trade talks going on, bunch of rumors. the real question is, can anyone trade for him? There's been rumors of the Dodgers, the Mets. There's been Red Sox and Yankees rumors. There's been other teams, but there's only two teams I personally think can trade for him: the Dodgers and Mets. I'll get into that more. As Red Sox fan myself, and Barnes being a Yankees fan, I think we can both agree that we would want Juan Soto on our teams, right?
Yeah, you'd be forced to not want him on your team.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously you would want him, but the thing is, one, do you have the pieces to get him? And two, are you willing to give up all those pieces to get him as well? The Red Sox, they probably have the prospect capital. Plus, if you add in guys like Hal, Whitlock, and Verdugo, you could get the deal across the line straight up Juan Soto. You don't have to eat any bad contract. But the Red Sox aren't going to do that. Let's be honest. They're not in the place to do that right now. Not even saying that, yeah, because they could get Juan Soto to make a run, but give up Hal, Whitlock, and Verdugo, plus Meyer, Cassis, all those guys that when you're building the farm system up, they're not going to do it. Doesn't make sense. And then the Yankees, obviously, I just don't think they have enough prospect capital, enough high level guys prospect wise to get a deal done, unless they ate that massive Strasburg contract, which yes, they're kind of taking Donaldson's contract right now, but that's a little different. Plus, Strasburg isn't even playing right now, or at least Donaldson's playing somewhat playing right now. But Dodgers and Mets. If you're the Dodgers and Mets, Barnes, you're sitting there and you have the chance to get Juan Soto. Not even just what you're going to get, but just you're thinking of what Juan Soto can add to your team. Let's start with the Dodgers because they already have Mookie, who's won an MVP. They have Bellinger, who's won an MVP. He's not as struggled, hasn't been as good as the MVP seasons. Still a former MVP. You got Trey Turner, his former teammate in Washington, and all the other guys on that roster. Kershaw's won an MVP. All the other guys on that roster. What does Juan Soto bring to the Dodgers that could push them over the edge?
Well, he adds a great lefty bat. That first and foremost, that's what he's offering you. You're getting a solid guy hitting that 3-4 spot. Obviously, that lineup is riddled with talent, riddled with power, riddled with great players. So you can almost put him anywhere in that lineup. He's going to be great. I really just think he adds that little bit of lefty firepower that's really just going to push any team that's going to take him over the top, get him over the hump, especially come playoff time where players get streaky, they get hot, they get cold, and someone's going to get hot, someone's going to get cold. Soto, I think he'll be hot through that whole time. He's been to the mountaintop. He's won a World Series. So I really think that he can offer a lot to, especially the Dodgers. But it always seems like they need a little bit of outfield help because Bellinger's definitely slowed down.
And they traded Pollock away.
Yeah, Pollock's gone. Mookie's having an up and down year. I think he's had a little. Too. I was going to say health-wise, you can never predict an injury or not. So you got what out there in LA? You got Chris Taylor, who can also play infield, but he seems to have health problems. Bellinger sometimes gets in a slump. McKinstry, you'd probably deal Gavin Lux to get Soto, but and he's a fantastic fielder too.
Yeah, you add Soto to that lineup. Right now, your everyday outfield is Mookie, then it's Bellinger, and then Gavin Lux, realistically. And they do have Chris Taylor right now is injured. So you would put Taylor in the outfield instead of Lux, but they can move Taylor to infield. And right now, guess who's DHing? Jake Lamb. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jake Lamb, but your bat's getting replaced. And they're going to figure out position-wise. They could put Muncy in the DH spot, put Taylor at second, slide Soto back to left field where he came up playing. They'd figure it out. A lineup with Mookie, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman, Juan Soto, Will Smith, Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, Max Muncy, and Chris Taylor. Who's the worst hitter in that lineup? Bellinger. Yeah. Who won an MVP in 2019. Yeah. So, and Bellinger's obviously very solid defensively. So that's crazy. And to the Mets obviously have a very well-rounded team. But the Mets, the reason I say the Mets is that, they have all the money in the world. They don't seem like they're worried about if they have to spend money. So Dodgers obviously would have money to re-sign him, and they have prospect capital to get him without having to eat a contract. The Mets would probably have to eat some of Strasburg's contract. Or maybe they wouldn't actually. They could get it, they'd get close to it without having to eat a contract. But even if they had to eat a tiny bit of Strasburg's contract, he'd fit there perfectly. I think. I mean, to be fair, he would fit in every team. He's a top 10 player in baseball. But for a Mets team that is very balanced, but maybe they're missing that superstar. They thought that was going to be Francisco Lindor. Hasn't fully been. They could probably use Juan Soto. I mean, just like anyone else, right?
Of course, everyone could use Juan Soto. Like you said, he's a top 10 player in baseball right now. He's going to be for a long time. He's 23. Especially with this Mets team, who they really built around their starting pitching. Obviously, DeGrom's been on the IL. Scherzer just came back, so they've been getting it done, which is pretty cool. With guys like Taijuan Walker, David Peterson, Carrasco, McGill even went on the IL for a period of time. So you got a bunch of guys that can get it done. And when you have pitching problems, you're going to have to rely on those bats a little bit.
Yep.
So he'll just sneak right in with Lindor, Alonso. If you throw Soto in the mix, I mean, who are you giving up, whether you're just taking on that contract or not. But, with McNeil, if you find a way to keep
Soto slides into that DH spot, and because I think McNeil's on Fangraphs is slated in the DH spot, they would slide him to second base and take out Guillorme from the starting lineup, which is fair. And whether or not maybe Soto doesn't DH, maybe they put another one of the outfielders in the DH spot and put Soto in the outfield. However they want to work it. But yeah, he fits, obviously.
Yeah, he's not gonna not fit. You will find a player to replace. You're gonna go, hey, you know what? You're out. Soto's in, and I don't think that player's gonna be too bummed out because of the talent that is Juan Soto. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting. Now, the big question is, whoever signs him, not signs him, trades for him. They're gonna want to sign him to an extension, and if you're the Nationals, you still have to try for an extension, but it seems very unlikely at this point. Don't give up on it, but it's very unlikely whoever else can sign him. You're getting to the point. If you don't give him a big enough offer, you can just not sign it and go to free agency as well. So you are going to have to pay. You're still going to have to pay a premium for Soto, so he doesn't get to free agency, because he'll get to free agency and it's going to be a legitimate bidding war for him. All right. Any final thoughts on Juan Soto and the Soto situation before I wrap this thing up?
Juan Soto, we got to bring it to New York. Brian Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner, figure it out. George Costanza figured out a way to get Griffey and Bonds on the Yankees without giving up too much. And if George Costanza could find a way, so can you guys. Let's get Soto in the pinstripes.
You can have fun with the Strasburg contract as well, because you'd have to take it. But no, I think there's an avenue for almost any team if they're willing to take at least some of Strasburg's contract. It's just how much do you want to take of that contract if Strasburg's not really going to play? There is a risk there. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap this one up. Obviously, thanks for checking this out right here on the Bleacher Brawls YouTube channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified when we post. And while you're down there, check out the description. Check out the links, all the Bleacher Brawls links to the website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters, plus all the other stuff that may be down there. Keep an eye out for our Twitter spaces. We do a lot of Twitter spaces, and also Barnes right now is doing his daily singles on Twitter spaces, and they are recorded, so you can go to his Twitter account and check them out. His Twitter account obviously will be in the description with everyone else's Twitter account. And yeah, so keep an eye out for all the stuff that we're doing. We'll have a bunch of podcasts going up, a bunch of YouTube videos going up. So stay tuned for it. For Barnes, I'm Derek. Thanks for tuning in to Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.